But let's give it a yank. Oh no. 41 degrees, torrential downpours. Nope, I don't think we're working outside today. So I think we should grab this thing and pull it into the shop and see what's going on with this. These yard machine little chippers or whatever, they've been sold for like 20 years or so. And you need to be kind of careful when you look these up, because they can have anything from a Tecumseh to a Briggs & Stratton to a Kohler. I've seen a couple of them with some weird like off-brand clone engines on them. So make sure you do your due diligence on what the engine is before you order anything. But this one with the Tecumseh in it usually tends to be the most common. On a side note on these, see how this pull cord is destroyed? Tecumseh was nice enough to basically use the exact same pull cord on all of their 5 to 10 horsepower snowblower engines, small engines like this. A lot of the carburetors actually swap back and forth and stuff. So it is nice, the fact that these are so interchangeable. What is a danger with these is that they're very soft metal internals. The moment one of these has a runaway, it will usually throw a rod. So if you get any kind of flare up with one of these, shut it down as fast as possible, because they will throw the connecting rod instantly. The more I look at this, the more I'm getting concerned about the fact that that pull cord is ripped all the way out. Because there are certain things I've noticed on these over the last 10 years that really tell you how much wear and tear the machine has. First of all, if it was used for sticks for a lot of stuff, that sticker is always gone. And it is perfect. There's no wear and tear down that sticker at all. This sticker is always gone from the sun killing it, and yet it's there. That sticker is usually gone, which in this case it is. But the thing that I can see here is this has no discoloration whatsoever to it. Normally this turns like a grayish color from the sun and things like that. But there are leaves packed in all through it. So it definitely spent some time outside working on something. But here's another interesting thing I noticed. See right there? See that red down there that's not showing up so well? It still has the paint on the inside there, which these never have if they have high hours. The other thing is this is always starting to rust out, because all the acid coming out of everything this chips up ends up coming out of this. As you can see, the plastic does not seal very well here. So it ends up pushing all of the ickies out through here, and this is normally rusted to snot. But yet it's not on this machine. And here's an even bigger kicker that tells me that this has insanely low hours. The safety great thing is actually still in it. These never have the safety in them. So what's always missing is these two screws here, so that this can flip up. But what's also always missing is this grate right here. It ends up getting beat to snot by everything coming out of it. The grate ends up all messed up and mangled, and everything else rusts out. And so people pull the pin there, and they pull the pin there, they drop the grate out, and they say screw it, and they never put it back in. This one, A, has the grate, and B, the grate still has almost all of its paint. So I know for a fact that, without question, this late 2000s machine is definitely low hours. So why did it end up with me? There we go, we got the pins driven out. So in theory, this should come out of here. Like I said, I'm really surprised this is actually in here. Usually these are entirely gone. There we go. So there's that thing. And inevitably this gets clogged when you're trying to go and cut stuff up. You can see it's actually dented on the inside. So now, the question's going to be, will this blade turn? Yep. So that blade is turnable. So now that we can turn this, we'll see if we can get the cord to retract. And if we can get the cord to retract, then we can try and get this thing going. The other reason you want to take this off is to check that it did not snap the shaft off going into the engine. I've seen that happen on these too. So I'm going to hold you guys so you can see in the side of the pull start. And as I turn that, you should be able to hear it rotate and you should see the cup turn. So if the cup down here turns, and it looks like it is, and we just heard a compression stroke come through the engine, so that's good. And I can feel the flails on the inside moving around. So at this point, we know that that is not stuck. We know that the shaft is connected. We know the flails are moving. And we know that there's no jam in the stupid safety thing that usually jams up. Yep. Walmart Tecumseh garbage, non-rebuildable pull start, and you can see right there, there's no tab for the clock spring coming through. So we can try to get this thing started. What we'll do is we'll put it on with 2 bolts every time we pull it over. Then we'll have to undo it and recoil it in order to be able to attempt to pull it over. If we get it up and running, we'll order a new one of these. They're about 25 bucks. I pulled this off so that we could put some starter fluid in here. And I thought this was interesting. On another list of things that are normally missing, this is a cold weather block off plate. So what you're supposed to do is below 40 degrees, you're supposed to put this here. And if you're running it during the summer, you pull it out of there. And then you stick it in this slot right here so that you can use it in above 40 degrees. And then if you're going to use it in the fall when it's freezing, you put it back in again. Which is interesting on these because they do actually have a choke. We can flip right here. Let me get my finger in there. They do actually have a choke, but apparently the choke just was not aggressive enough for running in the cold when it needs more gas and less air. But anyways, that's in really good condition. That filter is perfect. We pulled off the gas. There's nothing whatsoever, and in fact the whole bottom of it looks perfectly clean. I really am wondering if somebody reefed on it too hard and broke the pull start and then said screw it and parked the thing. Well, I say we give it some starter fluid, we give it a yank, and we see if it'll kick. So up is full throttle, down is kill. Got a little bit of gas in it, but let's give it a yank. Oh no. I forgot. They like to get filled with water. Well, remember I said snowblower engine? I guess we're gonna see if I was right. Okay, snowblower pull start. Didn't even actually pull it on the engine, so I guess we're gonna see whether this actually is a working pull start. Looks like it is. Got a cat litter container so that we can make a big giant stupid mess. Starter fluid, close choke, and give it a yank. so we got running on starter fluid. Let's crank it one more before we decide to drop the float bowl. Alright, so obviously we've got fire, we've got compression, runs on starter fluid, kind of. We'll drop the float bowl and go from there. We're going to try to start this up in just a sec because I didn't bother pulling that because I noticed that this bolt here on the intake was actually outright missing. So we're going to cinch this up, and the reason why this is important, the fact that it's missing, is you can see the gap going around the gasket right here. And what that does is it causes it to run extremely lean and makes it hard for it to run. Carb bolt missing, making a giant mess of my shop. Starter fluid. And nope. So I still need to pull the bowl and see if I can figure that out. Yep. One nice thing when you're working on these is if you tip them up so that they're on their side like this, usually most of the gas will stay in the gas tank. This is what our bowl ended up looking like in there. So I don't think it was going to work anytime soon. We also right now don't know whether the fuel filter, which is hidden up right in there, is passing anything or not. So what I'm going to do is tip this thing back down, and there we go. So you saw the gasoline come out of there. So we know that gas is making it from here down through the fuel filter into the backside of the carburetor. It's just not making it from the bowl through the idle jet and the primary jet into the intake. See that hole right there? That hole is supposed to correspond with a hole right there that does not exist because of sediment. In fact, there's supposed to be two. That one's closed off entirely. So we're going to drill that out and hopefully get that cleaned out and fire it back up. We may or may not have used Dollar General oven cleaner to get rid of the varnished up gasoline inside the carburetor. Honestly, I want to thank a viewer for telling me about this trick. I love it. It's awesome. Just keep it away from anything that's rubber. And it does. It eats the old shellacked up gas right out of everything. Okay. No starter fluid. Let's just put the choke on, see if it'll even do anything. Would you like to know why it is you don't do what I just did? And why you always start one of these outside? Oh yeah. Chunks all the way over to there. Chunks all the way over to there. But once it stops raining outside, we can go try it. Alright. We'll grab our glorified beard trimmer here and we'll go see if we can do some cleanup with this thing. Well, let's test this machine out and let's use it to solve a problem. On the backside of my junkyard drop-off area, there's a path behind me. And unfortunately, my son's golf cart that he uses to help me does not fit through this path. So I think we're going to widen it out today. I'm going to leave that long drawn out shutdown in this video because what happens with these with age is that as it vibrates shutting down, it'll actually bop this up to the point this thing will actually restart and idle. You need to hold it with your thumb. Just get in the habit of it. It'll be a lot less frustrating over time. Because if these things start doing really weird wonky idles, that is usually when they end up snapping the drive shaft going through or the coupler or whatever. And then you're really up the proverbial creek. Now, we've got the area cleaned out pretty decently. The fur, it was not a fan of. So the fur bow tops are over here. But it did do like a pretty decent size. It did the white birch without flinching, did the swamp maple without flinching, did the swamp alder without flinching. That one there, I'm just going to cut and I'm going to throw it onto the fire pit or whatever. The other thing I wanted to point out was this. This is honeysuckle. And I don't know what is up with the structure or the way that honeysuckle is or whatever. Do not ever run honeysuckle through any kind of chipper. This stuff turns into like twine. It does not chip. It turns into a massive ball of twine. And down inside of here, the whole propeller bearing system and everything will just get turned into a ball of honeysuckle that you will hate yourself for. But that's my advice. We're going to use this to fill in a whole bunch of little holes and things around the yard. And then I'll probably end up putting it up for sale this fall because I only need one like every 3 years and they always fall in my lap. Have a good day and thank you for watching.